Hello guys, welcome back to new video. This is the second video in how to create your first Fortnite brainrot map for beginners. And in the previous video, I have showed you guys how to get the player's name and print it on the base. And as you see now, I have 6 bases, so each base has only one owner, and the owner of each base, only his name will be on the base that belongs to him. If you missed this video, you can watch it again, or you can watch it for the first time in my channel. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to lock your base every time the player trigger or stand on this trigger here, and the base will be locked. Like here in the game, like if the player walked in this area here, the base should be locked. Only him will be able to get in and out from his space, and any other player he will not be able to enter the base. So without further ado, let's start our video by going back to our first code that we have created in the previous tutorial. And now we have on player spawned. This is the function that prints the name of the player on his space. And now in this tutorial, we need to add multiple things here in our base data class. And as you see now in this tutorial, we need to add new barrier, the gate barrier device, and billboard that will show you how many seconds the base will be logged for. And last thing is the trigger. So back to our verse code, we need to add these 3 devices to our class. So we need to add editable gate lock barrier. So it's going to be barrier device equal barrier device, and then gate lock trigger going to be trigger device equal trigger device, and last one is the billboard. So gate lock billboard 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 device equal billboard device. And now we need to create another function on gate lock. It's going to accept or going to receive the base data, just like this one here, base data. And also it's going to be suspense because we're going to create a loop, and it return nothing, so it's a void. All right. So logically, what we need to do. So back to our editor or back to our game. What we need to do is when the player trigger the trigger device, the barrier will be enabled and the base will show us how many seconds the barrier will be logged for. So first we need to trigger, or we need to get our trigger event. So back to our file, we need to make a loop, and we need to get the agent, just like this one. We need to get the agent who triggered the base, or that triggered the trigger device. So base dot here gate look triggered dot triggered event dot await. We're going to wait until the trigger is triggered by an agent or by a player. Okay, so now the trigger is triggered and we have received the data here. So we need to enable the barrier. So base dot gate look barrier dot enable. Okay, but now this barrier here will be like the gate will be logged forever. So we need to add a condition to unlock the barrier once again. So in this case, we need to create new lock duration. It's going to be a type of int equal, for instance, 15. It's like a 15 seconds. So we need to add a timer, or we need to use this variable here as a timer to to unlock the gate once again. So we need to create loop one more time. Okay. So in this loop, we need to sleep 1 second. So this loop will work only once per second. Okay. So first we need to like now the gate is locked, so we need to update our um billboard here to make it like it's locked. So we need to get base dot get log billboard dot set text, and like in the previous video I told you the billboard receives only a type of message, so we need to create a converter function to get the string into a message. So we need to write a message, and here it's a string to message. It receives a string and convert it to a message. So S to M, and we need to add these quotes, and we need to use the log duration. So once the gate is locked, the barrier will be enabled. We're going to create this duration, and instantly this log page billboard will tell us like this page is logged, or it will just display the seconds, the log duration. Okay. All right. And we need to show that the billboard, don't forget that. So show text. Okay. Now we are fine. So now we need to add a condition to decrease the log duration one, like one every second. So first we need to make sure, is the log duration equal 0? So log duration, if log duration equal or less than 0, 0, okay, then we break the loop. So if it's 0 or minus than 0, we're going to break the loop. Okay. All right. Else, all right, it's not equal or lesser than 0. So we're going to decrease the log duration. So log set log duration -1. Perfect. And we're going to sleep. So we're going to wait 1 second if it's if it's more or higher than 0. So this is how the function is working. Now we are waiting for an agent to trigger the log device. So we are waiting for a player to trigger this trigger device. And now if it triggered, now we are going to log the base. And now we're going to create a variable, a variant or a variable from of type int for like, hey, it has a value of 15 seconds or just 15. Now we're going to make a loop. All right, so now we're going to display or show the player that his gate is logged for this amount of time, 15 seconds. All right, we can add like just small s here. And now we're going to display the billboard. All right, after that, we're going to check if the log duration is equal 0 or less than 0, we're going to break the loop. If it doesn't, or if it isn't, we're going to decrease it by 1 and sleep 1 second, which means after the 1 second, we're going to make the loop one more time. Right now after we decreased it by 1, now it's for instance it's now 14. So the billboard will tell us the gate is logged for 14 seconds, not 15 seconds. And also it will check again if the lock duration is equal or less than 0, it's going to break, else it's going to reduce it by 1. Right, now if it's already equal 0 or less than 0, so we need to now we are breaking the loop. After the breaking the loop, the timer is finished. Now we need to disable our barrier here. Now we are unlocking the base, and also we're going to like display like lock base. So instead of this, lock base, and we're going to show that text. Right, this is our function. Now we need to call our function, and also like this one, to make sure this function is called, we are making this print function on get look function is called. Perfect. Now we are adding this function in on begin. So on get lock, and it receives base type is. Perfect. Now we need to compile our verse and our session, and we need to add the new devices we have added, the gate look barrier, the trigger, and the billboard. Now push first changes self-selected, and now we need to go back to our game. Now we are on our session. Okay, so as you see now, the billboard or the base has our name. So this is the barrier. So by default, it says lock base. So if I triggered, now the barrier is locked and the timer is counting down. So 9 seconds, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, boom. Now the base is unlocked. Now we can trigger once again. So only you will be able to enter or like go in or out. It's your own base, so you are the owner. All right. So if you started the session, you're going to see by default the base is unlocked. So what if we need to lock the base once the player spawn? And now to lock the gate by default, or to lock the gate once the player is spawned. So it's very simple. So all we need to do, just go back to our verse file, and on player spawned, this function here, after the player is spawned, we need to get the trigger of this space. So need to go back to the space and go gate lock trigger and base dot gate lock trigger, and we're going to trigger this device by this agent, and that's it. Now we need to compile and push the changes, and now we are just spawned, and as you see now the gate is locked by default and the timer is counting down as usual or as normal. So boom. Now if we lock the base, it's going to be just like that. And here also we have one more. It's not a problem, but it shouldn't be this way. So now if we lock the base, the trigger should be disabled. So the trigger is working every time, even if the barrier or the gate is closed. So we need to fix this. So end the game, go back to our verse code, and here to the on gate lock. Right, now after the agent trigger the event, the device, the barrier is enabled. So in this case, we need to turn off or we need to disable the trigger. So base dot lock gate lock trigger dot disable. Perfect. And now we need to enable it once again after the timer is finished. So on the gate barrier is disabled, we need to make the opposite. So gate lock trigger is enabled, or sorry, enabled. Sorry. And that's it. Now we need to compile and push. Now, as you see, the barrier is on by default and the trigger is turned off. So the trigger isn't working. So let's see the timer until it's finished. Now the base is unlocked. So the trigger is working. Now the trigger isn't working. Okay, now you can control the locking and unlocking the base. And that's it for this tutorial. Hope you guys liked this tutorial and the previous one if you didn't see how to print your own name or the player name on his base. So thank you for watching, and if you'd like to see more UEFN tutorials and if you'd like to follow this course how to create your first brain rot map in Fortnite even if you're beginner, hit like, subscribe and turn on the bell to be notified every single time I upload new video. And thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.